Robstar gang, what is up? Welcome to tonight's live stream. I have a special guest tonight. You guys know him. He doesn't really need an introduction. And shout out to the State of the Saints podcast. You know who it is once I just even say that. He's part of with me. He's my partner, one of my partners in crime over there at the NFC South Roundtable. We're going to break down this Saints versus Week 10 preview against the Carolina Panthers. So welcome to the stage with me, and everybody give a shout out to TJ.
Hey, what's going on, Clay? Man, what's going on, Panther Nation? Man, hope y'all having a good evening, and I'm glad to be here as always, man, to chop it up with my good buddy Clay, talk a little bit Saints and Panthers, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let me get you over on the other side because it says Saints versus Panthers. We want to make sure that's right.
I don't pull a Kobe now. You know,
can't do that now. Can't do that. Can't do that. Oh man, TJ, how we feeling tonight? It's a wonderful. It's Friday. It's the end of the week.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, it's Friday, long weekend, man. It was Veterans Day weekend, so man, you gotta, man. So I'm just enjoying, this long weekend. And also, man, special shout out to all the veterans out there, man. Thank y'all for your service.
Absolutely. Shout out to all the people, the men and women who serve our country and allow me and TJ to come up here and be live and not have to worry about a damn thing. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
So that's one thing we got to be thankful for. Plus, I mean, Thanksgiving's around the corner, so we got to be thankful for something, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, TJ, Week 10, we got the Saints, and we got these Carolina Panthers. How give me right now, like, how are you feeling about this team? And obviously, you know, you've expressed a lot of your opinions on this team, you know, on the NFC South Roundtable, but really, like right now, since your podcast is the State of the Saints podcast, what is the state of the Saints right now?
If you find out, Clay, let me know. I mean, I don't know what the state is. I mean, it's dire states right now. You know, like, look, man, to be honest with you, it's just been a rough year. A lot of ups and downs, more downs than ups. But, you know, this was going to be a rebuild for the black and gold. I'm pretty sure a lot of Saints fans understand that. And it is a team that's just trying to figure it out. And, you know, when you're going through those tough times, you know, you got to go through, times like this in order for you to get better. You just got to hope that this organization will put this team in the best position to succeed. And we don't have 4 and 5 years of this. But right now, I mean, the team isn't looking good. They're 1-8. And, you know, it's only up from here. But right now, you know, it's not looking too good.
Yeah. So this Saints offense, obviously, and you know, tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I've watched, you know, when we get on this NFC South Roundtable, I have to go back and most of the time watch the games, right? Mm-hmm. And so I can kind of get a clear understanding of what happened in these games and stuff like that. And I watched this Saints offense, and let's be real, it looked lost, and it looks lost right now. What the hell is going on with them? Is this just growing pains with Tyler Shook, or do you feel like this whole system is broken?
I think it's a combination of a broken system and not having enough talent. Like, look, we can talk about the next man up mentality all we want to, but there's a reason why teams have depth charts. Like there's levels to the game of football. You have guys that are going to be starters, guys that are going to be all pros, guys that are going to be elite players. And then if one of those players were to go down, you got role guys. And right now, the New Orleans Saints just have a bunch of role guys. Like they don't have cornerstone players. They don't have guys that you look at and be like, man, this guy is really into his prime. Like they just lack talent. And you have to look at the front office and the ineptitude of the front office and them putting the New Orleans Saints in this type of situation by not really looking at the glass half empty here. They're looking at it half full. And that's just been the issue. Too many, close relationships, not really cutting ties with older players just for the simple fact that you like them and you want them to be around. The New Orleans Saints have continuously fumbled opportunity after opportunity when it comes to contracts, when it comes to draft picks. And now you're in this situation. You got a bunch of nice guys in your locker room, but unfortunately, those nice guys aren't getting it done. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Well, I mean, I feel like this game for the Panthers, and you just tell me about what your offense is going on, right? Speaking of offenses, I feel like, this is a golden opportunity for us to get things moving again, right? But I'm going to be honest with you, TJ. I mean, we're the hotter team right now. This feels like a trap game for us, to be honest with you. Now we just heard that Tedero McMillan's he's questionable. He's not out there, and he just popped up on the injury report. Rico Dowdle's going to be good to go. They reported that, Derek Brown's going to be good to go. Then we've got some questions with Bryson Tremaine, who's another wide receiver. Didn't practice Thursday, was full on Friday, but he's questionable still. But we also got some major guys come back on the offensive line and the defense, as in Lathan Ransom coming off an illness. But then we get our starting left tackle back. We get our starting center back. And, of course, our rookie edge rusher, Princely Mamiellan, who's fully this week.
Right.
How are the Saints looking injury-wise? What are we doing? Because I know, obviously, you just made some trades. Rashid Shaheed to the Seahawks. Then now you've got Trevor Penning going to the Chargers, which makes sense with the whole Joe Alt situation.
Right.
So what's the situation on the injuries over there with the Saints?
I mean, well, you got a couple guys that were limited during the week in practice. Alvin Kamara, he's questionable this Sunday. Talese Fuago, who has a high ankle sprain, he's not going to play. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So is Jack Stool, the blocking tight end for the Saints. Cam Jordan has an ankle injury, but he was a full participant. You have a few guys that have been on the injury list, but for the most part, the New Orleans Saints have been relatively healthy, and that's the real head scratcher here. They have been probably the healthiest they have been in years when it comes to this time of year. I would just have to say, when it comes to Trevor Penning and offensive line, look, Trevor Penning got traded. I mean, he was a starter, but it's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around, doesn't make a sound. Like if Trevor Penning's not on your team, do you really notice it? I mean, he's not that good. So at the end of the day, I feel like the backup that's coming in, Dylan Radins, is going to be a little bit better than he is and provide a little bit more at the guard position. Now at that right tackle position, the Saints, they have a few guys that can probably fill that void. Awesome Richards, who they end up picking up in a trade with the Dallas Cowboys. He'll probably be your right tackle this week, going alongside Calvin Banks, the rookie. So the injuries have not really been the issue. There's not anybody outside of Fuaga that I'm looking at, and also Eric McCoy, who's out for the season, that I'm looking at that would make an immediate impact just for the simple fact of them not being out there. It would be a huge loss. Other than that, I mean, they pretty much ready to rock and roll. Hopefully, they can probably put it all together.
Okay. Well, let's segue, because you talked about Alvin Kamara. Honestly, I haven't been fantasy. I'm not going to lie there. He hasn't looked himself in weeks though. And I mean, do you think he's cooked, or is it more about the offense being run? Like what is going on? Because right now you got us over here on the other side. You got Rico Dowdle playing like he's prime Adrian Peterson coming out of the blue here. But yeah, what's going on with Alvin Kamara? Because I feel like that's a guy you want to lean on, especially with a rookie quarterback and Tyler Shough playing, to help his development. That's kind of where I'm pondering at, because I'm not understanding what's going on with Alvin Kamara this year.
Man, I think it's a combination of the fact that this offensive line is just not very good on the interior. I mean, Cesar Ruiz, he was a first-round draft pick back in 2020, hasn't lived up to it. I mentioned Trevor Penning. They moved him from right tackle to left guard. He wasn't getting it done. You got Luke Fortner, who is a backup center. Like, they just can't run the football, man. And then you also have to combine the fact that Kellen Moore, who is the head coach and play caller, isn't really utilizing Alvin Kamara as he has been used in years past. Like, you would see Alvin Kamara out in space, opportunities for him to catch the ball, You don't see any of that. You don't see screens. You don't see any of the stuff that has made Alvin Kamara dynamic throughout his career since he come into the league in 2017. And yes, you also have to think about the battle of attrition. I mean, this guy is 30 years old, a lot of wear and tear on the body, and he's not going to be the same guy. But I will say, a former Carolina Panther and Christian McCaffrey, it was kind of like the same situation where a lot of people thought, he was washed. And then all of a sudden, like, he gets traded to the 49ers,
Right.
and then he has a resurgence of his career. I just think it's a combination of the Saints not utilizing Alvin the right way. You can't use Alvin like he is Adrian Peterson, like running him up the middle. He's just not that type of guy. He's a guy that can show his elusivity and his dynamic ability in space on top of running in between the tackles. The New Orleans Saints have not done a good job at utilizing the skill set of Alvin Kamara. Thus, he looks washed and a shell of himself.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I just feel like we've got to, he's one of the guys I want to key in on because, it seems like for years, we were always getting torched by Kamara or it's Taysom Hill, and, so you always got to find, they were always able to find ways to make our life miserable here. But again, for us, that's good news that Kamara has been mid, right?
Right.
In this, he hasn't rushed more than 31 yards in 5 straight games, and he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1. Yeah. And to me, that's just wild, especially for a guy who is used to living in the end zone. He, as a receiver, he's had one of the decent outings in that span, but otherwise he's been quiet, right? And so, still, I don't feel like we can afford to relax on him because I think, he's the kind of player who can flip the momentum if he just busts one tackle or we miss an assignment, like, right? So, if we're playing slower, more controlled offensive style, the Saints may try to mimic that and pound the rock, chew the clock, hope Kamara can pop a few big plays. And so we need to be, I think, for our defensively, Carolina will need to shut that down. That's one of my keys in this game, at least from a defensive standpoint. But I think from an offensive standpoint, I mean, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but would you say that you feel like you need to kind of lean on him in this game?
I mean, I think they needed to lean on him every game, but it just seems like the Saints have other things in mind. And maybe it's just the fact that I guess we'll talk about the defense in a minute, but I think it has a lot to do with the fact that teams are able to jump on the New Orleans Saints early in games. Like there was a brief run where teams would score touchdowns on back-to-back drives, I want to say for like 4 weeks in a row. And if your team is down by like 2 touchdowns, I mean, you might have your first 15 scripted plays. I mean, you got to kind of throw that out the window and play catch up. And that causes you to have to throw the ball a little bit more than you probably anticipated at that stage of the game. So you're finding yourself kind of exhausting your playbook a little bit early, which takes the running game out of it. And I just think that is one of the main reasons why Alvin can't get going, on top of the fact that the Saints offensive line has not done him any favors. I mean, as soon as Alvin gets the ball, a defender is in the backfield. I mean, it's hard for you to be able to run the football when your offensive line is not opening up lanes in order for you to run through. So, I mean, Alvin Kamara, to me, I think that he still possesses a lot of talent. I just think that the New Orleans Saints offensive line, unfortunately, is letting them down.
So if you're obviously, if you're Kellen Moore, right? Mm-hmm. What is your game plan here offensively? Do you trust Tyler Shough to sling it, or do you try to make this game like an ugly game where you just are pounding the rock, you're chewing the clock, pray that this run game finally, maybe opens up, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Or what's that game plan in your mind?
Well, look, they always say the best friend of a young quarterback is a good running game and a good defense. Like, you got to play. Like, the Saints don't have a good defense, but you got to be at least formidable. Like, you cannot put it all on the shoulders of your young quarterback. And I don't think that would be ideal if Kellen Moore game plan is to allow Tyler Shough to sling the ball all over the place. it should be a balance, especially playing away from home. You know, when you're playing away from home, you want to be able to control the time of possession. You want to be able to sustain drives. You want to be able to convert on third downs. And that's what the key is going to be. You want to have a balanced attack. If the Saints can't run the football, this game is going to be over before it starts. You know, it kind of is the same way of what happened last week. You had the Rams who were able to jump on the New Orleans Saints very quickly, you know, because they were able to sustain these long drives. They controlled the time of possession. I mean, dominated. Like, I want to say they held the ball for like 42 or 43 minutes. So if you are having a balanced attack, you know, I'm not saying that you will win this football game. You still have to make plays, but at the same time, you can find yourself late in the fourth quarter, maybe driving to kick a field goal to win a game or driving to try to score. So the Saints going to have a balanced attack. If Kellen Moore goes into the game trying to get Tyler Shuck to throw the ball 30 times, I can tell you right now, the Carolina Panthers will blow out the Saints.
Yeah, I think for us on the offensive side of things, man, like there's a few things that I want this offense to do this week. I want them to let Bryce Young let it fly. I feel like this is a game for us to get right offensively. I think defensively, I don't feel like we need to get right because it's just like we're a top 10 defense. Yeah, we got blown out by the Bills, but that Bills game was so one-sided due to a quarterback that looked scared to get hit. As in Andy Dalton. Yeah. And of course, basically they come to find out in that Bills game, he breaks his thumb, you know, early in like 5 minutes of the game. So, right. You know, that's the reason why it went all downhill and the defense had to try to pick up the slack, but they couldn't obviously do that longevity against an elite offense, or not an elite offense. I should say an elite quarterback, and we can also probably say a top 5 rusher in the NFL in James Cook.
Right.
But offensively, I want to see Bryce Young rip it because, again, your defense, the Saints defense right now, I was looking at it, is 26th in pass defensive DVOA. So this is a good test for Bryce because I have been a little, I'll say, I'm not harsh, but I want to see more. Like, yeah, we're winning games. Bryce is 4-0 as a starter this year, according to reports, or he's like 4-0 in the last 5 games, whatever it is. But you know, I want to see him really test his arm in this game. I want to see that because we've got dudes who can make plays. Yeah. You got Tedero McMillan. If he's able to go, you know, he's wide receiver 1. He's reliable as hell. You got Xavier Legette, who I think is a guy that they can move around. I love seeing Tedero McMillan in the slot. We saw that a little bit more against the Bills. Actually, we saw that a lot against that. But you can move Tedero McMillan anywhere. But I want to see Xavier Legette use his speed. I think he could burn some corners deep. You know, he ran a 4.39 in the combine, not over a year ago, but I want to see Bryce Young. It's not about him like turning into Patrick Mahomes overnight. It's just about letting him play. Like, I build some confidence, build some timing, build some excitement for once, because if we're going to survive, especially through this tougher stretch after we play you guys, we got a tough stretch here because you got to play Atlanta in Atlanta. You got to play San Francisco in San Francisco. Then you've got the Rams at home, so you've got a tough stretch of games here. I need to see Bryce show me that he can win games for this team. Like, yeah, we've seen him be really clutch at the end, but I don't want to see him. I don't want it to every game to get down to the point where we have to have a game-winning drive to win a football game. I want to win games where it's 28-16 or 31-17, where we go out there and we just completely dominate, because I cannot say that this team going forward can win, make it to the playoffs and think they're not going to get bounced in the first round if you're not able to do that. And so I know the run game's going to be there. You're going to lean on, obviously, we're going to definitely obviously lean on, Rico Dowdle, as we always do. So we're going to keep the pedal down on that, of course, because again, what are we going to do, when you got a guy like Rico Dowdle playing the way he is? I mean, it's not even a debate. Like, we can't even sit there and say that's not going to happen. But again, I do want to see this offensive line. I want to see them limit Cam Jordan. I want to see them limit guys like Chase Young in this game, because those guys. Now, I know Cameron Jordan's not the same monster he once was, but he is still a pain in the ass. He always has been a pain in the ass to us. He's been that way for Carolina for years. I don't want to see him have a vintage game. Ike Ekwonu needs to handle business up front, keep Bryce clean. I don't know if Cam will be on the left side or right side. I know Chase may be there, but Ike Ekwonu, limited Micah Parsons last week to one pressure, which is just crazy to think about.
Oh, that's good.
But from an offensive standpoint, it's just I want to see Bryce sling it in this game. I know they're going to lean on the run game, so I don't really need to even say that. But I want to see Bryce sling it. Like going forward, we need to see him progress. Like you've told me off the ledge multiple times over on the NFC South, like Clay, give this guy some time. But it's just like, man, we're in year 3. This is normally where you take off, and right now, you just had 100 yards against the Green Bay Packers. That's not going to cut it.
Well, I mean, I would give him the benefit of the doubt in that game, because I mean, even Jordan Love was struggling to throw the ball in the game. I mean, extremely windy. I want to say it was like 30 mile per hour wind gusts.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
That's tough elements like to throw in. That is that type of phone boot, run the football type game. I wasn't shocked that the game was so low scoring as it was, man. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And also you have to take into account, I mean, it was his first game back, coming back from an injury as well. They probably didn't want to like just completely thrust him into the game and just say, okay, man, everything's on you here. So I would say, like, taking a look at evaluating him based on the Saints game and going forward, I think that, as he starts to heal up and, you don't have those type of elements to have to face, this week. So I think Bryce Young is doing some good things, man. I mean, the only thing you can ask a quarterback to do, especially if you're looking at him to be a franchise guy, is for him to get better every single year. And I think the biggest Bryce Young skeptic has to say that he gets better every single year. You see flashes of promise every single year.
I see those Alabama days, man. It's just like where I just want to see that. It reminds me. I hate that we compare guys to like basketball players like Steph Curry. I don't even see Steph Curry in Bryce Young. Like I could say, because Bryce's arm it's not as weak as some people make it seem.
Right.
I don't think I don't think Dave Canales, the way he runs his offense is he's not trying to stretch the field. It's intermediate to short passes, right? Get the quarterback comfortable. Then you might see some throws downfield here and there, but it's a lot of yards after the catch. It's quick hitch routes, slants, stuff like that. It's a lot of quick game to get your quarterback going, keep the ball moving down the field, and then lean on the run game, which that's basically what he did in Tampa Bay. When they even did have Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield but is also a gunslinger, so he's going to take some shots. And I think that's where Bryce is a little bit different, because there's times I don't see him take shots, and I'd like to see him take shots, especially now when you've got a wide receiver core. If, obviously when Tedero McMillan's not obviously just popping up out of nowhere with this hamstring issue, but now you had Jalen Coker come back in the lineup. You've got Xavier Legette. I love how they're using Jimmy Horn Jr. now, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And I thought he was a steal getting him in the 6th round. But and then you got Tedero McMillan, who's a guy who can go up and get it. So who has been compared to Mike Evans, AJ Green, and those type of guys.
Right.
And that was his comp coming out of Arizona. That's why I want to see Bryce start taking some shots, man. You've got the weapons there. You got to try to use them.
Yeah. I mean, he has a lot of young, promising talent. And, I just think that, as time goes on, I mean, the chemistry is just going to be there. I just think that it has to be like a confidence level too. I still think, even though he's showing that promise, he still has to have that confidence in himself week to week to be able to get it done. And I think that'll come over time, as these young Carolina Panthers learn how to win together collectively as a team. So, I mean, look, like that old saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. You know, sometimes we just got to appreciate the effort and the work that we put in to build what we're actually building. And I just think that everybody wants that finished product, but, you know, it's just one of those situations where you have to enjoy the structure that you're building. I know everybody wants it to be finished, but sometimes you got to enjoy the process on the way to building something beautiful, man. So I think that they're close, man. I think they're close to having stability consistently in Carolina. You know, the more I see Bryce Young, I feel like he's the right guy. I just think that, you know, he has to develop more confidence in his ability, more confidence in his offensive players. But that's going to come with time. Once those guys really start to learn each other, that's when I feel like they'll really take off.
Yeah, and I've been more patient because you've kind of you always make good points, and I'm like, damn, he makes a good point, and I'm just like, and you always keep me off, you keep me level headed with the Bryce Young thing. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. Appreciate everyone here. We appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you, Jared. Thank you, man.
Yep. Whether you're watching on State of States podcast or if you're watching on my channel, by the way, guys, if you are watching on my channel, TJ's show is in the description of the live stream. The link is in there, so you can go in there, click on it. It'll take you right to his channel. You can make sure you go over there, like and subscribe. He does wonderful Saints work, and he'll keep you up to date on everything. All right,
and it's the same exact way. So make sure y'all subscribe to Clay's channel as well. So, you know, and a lot of the people that's on this channel know you anyway, because a lot of them watch the NFC South roundtable every Tuesday. Yeah, so.
Nice. I appreciate everyone in here. Let's segue though to TJ, because I'm interested to hear a little bit more about your quarterback, since we were talking about Bryce. What is your expectation from Tyler Shough in this game? And honestly, what's your expectations of Tyler Shough going forward?
Well, my expectations for this game versus Carolina is just to be consistent. You know, don't turn the ball over. Also, if the plays are there, you got to make them. You know, last week I give him a little bit of a pass. That was just a tough environment to be your very first game as an NFL quarterback, going up against a contender, a Super Bowl contender, not just NFC West contender, a Super Bowl contender in the Rams, who have a top 5 pass rush. And it just was not a really good matchup for him to have his first start. I just think everybody was just so disgruntled and just hardened by, you know, just the way the New Orleans Saints look compared to a top team, that everybody kind of forgot that this was his first start. Like I didn't really hear too many people talking about him, you know, like, so to me, I just want to see him be consistent. Now, what do I expect going forward? I expect for Tyler Shough to be better than Spencer Rattler going forward, because here's the thing. They benched Spencer Rattler because Kellen Moore, the head coach of the Saints, said he wanted the team to have a spark, right? Yeah. So by him sitting down Spencer Rattler, he is basically conceding and telling everybody that Spencer Rattler, number one, isn't that spark, and Tyler Shough is. So to me, Tyler Shough has to play better than Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler would go out there, play steady. He might throw a touchdown, might not. Can't be that way with Tyler Shough. Tyler Shough has to be putting up 2 and 3 touchdowns per game, because this is the reality. Fair or unfair, we can talk about the lack of talent. We can talk about how this team is structured. We can talk about the rebuild, but nobody cares at the end of the day. The New Orleans Saints, as of right now, got the number 1 overall pick. If the season was to end today, Clay, they would have the number 1 pick. So they can pick any player they want. You know, like, so that means if you're not performing at the quarterback position, they can go into the draft and say, well, we don't think we have our guy. And they can probably go after a guy like Dante Moore or Mendoza or Lenore Sellers. Like, you got to go out here and you got to show some promise. I'm not saying you got to put the team on your back. We understand where the Saints are, but you have to look the part. You have got to present yourself and look as if you are the future of this franchise. If he does not look like that in any way, shape, or form, the New Orleans Saints should not hesitate to draft another quarterback in 2026. Plain and simple. He has to show better than Spencer Rattler. It can't be game manager. It can't be oh, he threw a touchdown. Oh, I like the zip on that ball. No,
Yeah.
that's what you say when quarterbacks are 4th and 5th round picks like Spencer Rattler was. You can talk about Spencer Rattler's talent and arm talent and what people expected coming out of high school. That does not matter. He was a 5th round pick, and in the eyes of the NFL, 5th round picks are not looked at as guys that were drafted in the 1st and the 2nd round. Fair or unfair, he has got to look better than Spencer Rattler did as a starting quarterback. And if he then I think the New Orleans Saints are going to get another quarterback in 2026.
I mean, I hate to say this, TJ. I'm a big college football guy. I watch college football, big Gamecock fan, Coastal alumni, watch them, of course, as well. But I have watched the landscape of college football this year, and there is not a quarterback in this draft class that just pops out to me. There's just not that one guy.
Yeah.
I think Ty Simpson has been the best so far.
Yeah.
And I probably would put Mendoza, and then I'd probably go Dante Moore. But Lenore, like you mentioned, Lenore Sellers, he's probably not going to stay. He's probably going to stay. He needs to develop more. I think he actually needs more reps. As a Gamecock fan, I truly believe that. You probably might see him. He's either going to stay at South Carolina because of the way his dad is. His dad is very conservative. He takes that very conservative approach, wants him to stay, go 4 years, get education. Like that's how his dad is.
Right.
But I've heard some rumors that he might at Miami, the University of Miami might be coming to call because once Beck is gone, they're going to try to find someone else to bring in with this whole NIL and transfer portal.
Right.
Sellers might say, listen, I've been here for 2 years. It hasn't worked out. And he might go somewhere else. And who knows?
Yeah.
But again, that does not mean that the New Orleans Saints can't get a playmaker at the number 1 overall pick. That does not mean that you can't get who knows? Maybe Ty Simpson is that guy. Maybe it is Mendoza. Maybe it is Dante Moore. But all I would say is be cautious with this quarterback draft class because everybody thought Arch Manning was the next coming of his uncle, and he hasn't looked anywhere close to what it was.
Yeah. Look, I agree with that. You got a lot of guys who haven't really played that much. Like you look at Dante Moore, he has played some games since his time at UCLA, but only a handful of starts. Lenore Sellers, Ty Simpson, these guys have performed pretty well this season, but it's a small sample size. So I do agree, you have to do your homework. But look, you know as well as I do, sometimes a fan base just needs a spark, man. I can think back in 2006, right after Hurricane Katrina hit, and the New Orleans Saints drafted Reggie Bush. And, Reggie Bush was just the most dynamic college player ever, almost.
Yeah.
Did he end up being what he was at USC and NFL? No. But when he was drafted by the Saints, he just resembled hope for the city. And it just galvanized the fan base. It helped the fan base kind of weather the storm, no pun intended. It helped them. And I just think the New Orleans Saints need something like that. They need someone to resemble hope. Right now, the Saints organization makes you feel as if the team is hopeless. Watching this team on Sunday makes you feel like they're hopeless. You want somebody that generates that hope. And if it comes in the form of a Dante Moore, maybe it's a guy running around in the fourth quarter, getting first downs, matriculating the ball down the field, something that gets this fan base excited. But right now, it's like watching paint dry. And I'm telling you, I've been a Saints fan, Clay, since I was 4 years old, man. That was 30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, man. I ain't never seen it for the most part as low as it has been over the last couple of years. It's bad, bro.
We can. That's the thing we can relate on. Once Cam took that shoulder hit from TJ Watt, it's been the same way here.
Yeah.
It's been the same way here. And the crazy part is, see, your organization went and got Derek Carr. When you got Derek Carr at the time, Derek Carr was what he was. You knew what you were getting out of Derek Carr. Mm-hmm. You're getting a guy who was basically another Teddy Bridgewater with just a bigger arm. That's I mean, that's the way I look at Derek Carr. But with like us, you have two guys that now are playing like elite quarterbacks and look like MVPs of the league. Sam Darnold's throwing the JSN. It looks like Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. And you got Baker Mayfield over there slinging it to two rookies and making it work.
Right.
So it's just like, make sure you like. But, it's like, but that I feel your pain. I totally feel your pain where you're coming from, because you're just like, why can't my organization do what these guys are doing? Why can't we be the Bucks? Why can't we be the Seahawks? Why can't we be, the Lions and all these guys? Like, we used to be there, right? Like, and we were used to being there. Cam and the Drew Brees days, that was the best football we've seen since the last 6-7 years.
Yeah. I mean, look, it was a time where, to be honest with you, NFC South, they had like the best group of quarterbacks. I mean, Tampa was like really the only team that was trying to figure it out. But Matt Ryan was a league MVP. Cam Newton was a league MVP. Drew Brees, Super Bowl MVP. I mean, the Panthers went to the Super Bowl. Atlanta went to the Super Bowl. And and now you're seeing Tampa, kind of turn the corner as well. So, I mean, it's like, it's like at one time, like this was a really competitive division, despite, you having like Drew Brees with the Saints, Matt Ryan, Cam, like you really did not know who was going to win the South. Like you didn't know. But now it's like I said, it's like it's hopeless. And here's the thing also, Clay and Panthers Nation, the ones that are watching, like y'all kind of understand where I'm coming from, because y'all have David Tepper as your owner. It's kind of the same situation with the Saints.
Yeah.
The teams that you mentioned, the Detroits, teams that can turn around, Seattle, right? You let go of Pete Carroll as your head coach, you bring in Mike McDonald. Okay, they turned it around because the infrastructure is willing to do so. But what happens when your organization is so delusional that they feel like they got all the answers? And right now, the New Orleans Saints front office is the main reason why I don't feel like they will reach that potential. Like, because they are so delusional when it comes to this football team. Like, look no further than what Denver is doing right now with Sean Payton as the head coach. If that's not an indictment on Mickey Loomis as the general manager, I don't know what is. Because he is showing you, again, that it had very little to do with Mickey Loomis being the general manager of the Saints, why the Saints had most of their success. And the New Orleans Saints just refused to see that, because he's the only person up top, I'm talking Loomis, that understands football. There was an interview that was conducted maybe like a day ago with Dennis Lauscher, who is the president of the Saints. And one of the news reporters, shouts out to Fletcher Mackel, he's a sports reporter down in New Orleans. He asked him, he said, what was the message that you would give to the Saints fans, team 1-8, not being their best? This guy just completely just flipped the script and started talking about renovations to the Smoothie King Center and the Superdome. Nobody gives a damn about that. Like, nobody cares about the damn paint options or the concrete slab that you put on a building. People want to see you win. Like, man, people don't care if it's raining inside of the facility. If my team got double-digit wins after 12 weeks, I'm going to be in that thing with an umbrella in my hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I just got a crack up in this thing.
Yeah.
Look, man, my team out here doing the damn thing. You get what I'm saying? So they just so delusional, man. And it's disheartening, it's frustrating, and that's the worst feeling in the world, Clay, when you feel like you don't have any hope, man. And then right now, this team looking hopeless and unwatchable, bro.
Well, all I have to say is TJ is this.
That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
That's all I got to say about that. TJ just dropping knowledge, man. Dropping knowledge about those New Orleans Saints. But let's segue, because that was great. That was great stuff there, TJ. But let's segue. We talked about the offense. Let's get into this defense. This used to be like this Saints team used to be, I felt like one of the nastiest defenses in football, man. Like they were so good. And now that they've kind of been giving up chunk plays every week.
Mm-hmm.
What has changed?
It's a couple things, man. Okay, so you convert from a 4-3 to a 3-4. You don't have the right personnel as of right now to be able to run the 3-4 effectively. And then also, man, look, you gotta be committed to stopping a run. Like when you have you have a defensive front, guys are just running into each other 20, 30, 40 times a game. Like you gotta want to stop the run. And I just think that the New Orleans Saints are showing an unwillingness to do so. Like lanes are wide open. And I don't feel that they got the right nose tackle in order for them to be able to be effective. Like you look at Tampa, right? They got Villa. Like this guy's almost 400 pounds. Like running there if you want to.
TJ, I'm gonna pause you for a second because that is so funny you say that because this is the same thing that Carolina did. It's so funny because we went from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense, and guess who was our nose tackle the whole time that before that we finally switched it up this past 2 years now?
Was it Shy Tuttle?
Yes. You know what I call him? I call him Shy Turtle.
Man, and that's a 4-3 interior lineman. You know, like he would do well. Like Shy Tuttle was good for the Saints because they ran that traditional 4-3 defense, and like he was able to stop the run because he can use the athleticism. He had David Onyemata on the side of him, Sheldon Rankins. You know, like he had like talented guys alongside of him, and it just didn't fit him. You need that big, imposing guy because he has to be able to account for at least two guys. Like you look at like in the past, Vince Wilfork, before he lost his damn mind, or Albert Hainsworth. Like, guys like that who, were able to, stop the run. They were plug up the middle. The Saints don't have that. And Devine Godshaw, as talented as he is, he's not that dominant interior lineman that you need. And then on top of that, you think about the linebackers, you think about Demario Davis. I mean, he's still going to give you double-digit tackles each game because that's just who he is. But outside of him, you don't have the athletes, to be able to, stop the run. You have Chase Young, who is really good on the edge. You got Carl Granderson, who's okay on the edge. And you're asking a 36-year-old and Cam Jordan to be what he was back in 2015. That's just wishful thinking. So that's the main issue. Like I said, it all comes down to the personnel. The Saints don't have the talent to be able to stop the run consistently, to, stop the pass consistently. It's going to have to come with time. They're going to have to restructure this roster to make it what it is. Like you got to be able to get a dominant pass rush. You got to be able to get a big nose tackle up the middle that's going to be able to stop the run. That's the reason why. And then on top of that, I mean, for every fault that he had as a head coach, Dennis Allen was a hell of a defensive coordinator. And regardless to like what the Saints offense was looking like that day, you knew as a coordinator, Dennis Allen's defense was going to show up and show out. So it's a combination of things. They just don't have the talent to run the 3-4 as of right now, in my opinion.
No, I totally get that. I mean, when we were running Shy, I'm sorry, I can't even call him Shy Turtle anymore. I've called him Shy Turtle. I've that name has just stuck with me with him. But I mean, yeah, no, that was like we couldn't stop the run at all. But I mean, the biggest thing is like the biggest thing that we noticed now is just some of the guys that we've changed up on this roster. Though the bringing in Nick Scorton and Princely Mamiel and drafting those guys, bringing them in there, bringing some guys who can really get some bend off that edge, get some speed. Like you got Nick Scorton, who's got the speed, but he's also got the power. Where Princely Mamielin's more of that speed rusher, so you got a nice little balance there with those guys.
Right.
But and then you get Trayvon Moehrig. You bring him into this off, and he plays that hybrid role. He kind of comes in the linebacker spot a little bit, or he kind of, goes out. And then we basically also have, like, we brought in also, Christian Roseboom, and he's basically, this linebacker room kind of started really bad, right? Like,
right.
And they moved Trevin Wallace, gave him the green dot. So then he's calling the plays. And then really everything has just kind of transitioned to where everybody now is put in position to be successful. But the biggest thing that we've noticed is that Derek Brown's presence, it elevates everybody else on this.
That's true. That's true. I mean, he was greatly missed last year, and you can tell like the difference when he went down because the beginning of the season, they were able to find success. When he went down, I mean, the entire defense just fell with him. I mean, he definitely is the straw that stirs the drink defensively up front, no doubt about that.
Yep. So defensively, obviously, I guess my next question is what are the keys for this defense for the Saints to really tie up this hot rolling Carolina Panthers offense? Because I mean, we have like right now, I mean this offense is it's run through Rico Dowdle, right?
Yeah.
What are y'all going to do, and what do you think they need to do to really slow him down? Because he's obviously got to be the guy you're going to key in on.
Well, like I said, you got to be committed to the run. I mean, look, the New Orleans Saints against Tampa, Tampa pretty much tried to do the same thing. Like they seen the New Orleans Saints get gassed the week before, and they decided that they were just going to run the football up and down the field on them. And the New Orleans Saints were up to the task, and they were able to neutralize the running game of Tampa for the most part. They have got to go into this game trying to stop the run, stopping Rico Dowdle from really just finding success running the football. And you kind of have to rely on Bryce Young to beat you, plain and simple. Like if you can stop the run and, you put it in the hands of Bryce Young to try to see if he can beat you, then you got to live with that result right there. But if you allow Rico Dowdle to run the football, that sets up all type of explosive plays down the field, because now you have to make up for him gashing you for 4 or 5 yards per clip. So number one, you're gonna have to stop the run and neutralize him. And number two, you just gotta, you just got to be assignment oriented in the secondary as well. I mean, you got to be able to make sure that you are with your guy. I mean, the Saints play a lot of zone. Like you got to be able to make these tackles. A lot of the Saints' issues in the secondary has been missed tackles, not so much as guys not knowing where they need to be. It's more so like guys catch the ball, they break a tackle, and then they'll get about 10 or 15 more yards. But once again, you got to stop Rico Dowdle. You got to put it into the hands of Bryce Young, and you got to generate some turnovers somehow. That's how the New Orleans Saints are going to be able to be effective defensively. If they can do that, then I think they'll be in the game until the end. But if they can't stop Rico Dowdle, I mean, and that sets up these big explosive plays or plays in the middle of the field, guys in the flat, it's going to be a rough outing for them. So they better go into this game trying to stop the run of the Carolina Panthers if they're going to try to generate any type of success against Carolina.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, if I'm being honest, we've got to get. I think it would be simple, but that's easier said than done. I think. I mean, even though you're off, I'm not talking smack or anything. The offensive line of the Saints is a mess. I mean, you trade away Trevor Penning, Talise Fuaga, like you were saying, is out with a high ankle sprain. Right. So that means you have at least 2 backups that's going to be starting.
And got three of them. No Eric McCoy either.
Yep. And so you're sitting here and you got a rookie quarterback who's still trying to process the NFL speed, who just played his first game. Could you ask for much of a dream setup for a Ejiro Evero's defense? No. I mean, when you've got a defense like Carolina's right now that's trending on the upward, Derek Brown's been wrecking the middle, right? You got Princey Mamiello coming back, DJ Wanham. Maybe this could be a get-right game for DJ Wanham because he hasn't really shown up this year. But Nick Scorton is starting to win off the edge. We're starting to see that, especially with some of these blitz packages that we're finally throwing out there, and it's starting to click. So this is not the week that we want to sit back in soft zones. We need to pin our ears back, mix up some looks, hit Shook early and often. You don't need 5 or 6 rushers every play, but the front four should be able to win their matchups. I feel like keep him guessing. If you make him uncomfortable, he'll start forcing throws. That's where J.C. Horn and guys like Trayvon Moen can cash in. I think for Carolina, you also want to try, even though he has basically been a non-factor for a little bit, but you never know. This could be a get-right game for Alvin Kamara, but you really want to contain him, right? Because like I said, he's made our lives miserable, right? Mm-hmm. He can have a busted run, a broken tackle, a trick play that sparks some life in that Saints offense, but this defense can't let that happen. Again, the reality is that Kamara has been struggling. He hasn't rushed for more than 31 yards in 5 straight games, hasn't scored since week 1. The Panthers front 7 has to take advantage, stay disciplined, wrap him up, and don't fall for the gadget plays, right? And then I think another thing is, you got Shaheed traded. Chris Olave is the only real threat through the air, in my opinion. But maybe besides Juwan Johnson. I mean, I know you're not a big fan of Juwan Johnson, but you got to talk about Chris Olave, who's accounted for almost third of your total targets this year in the passing game for you guys. That means that this is JC Horn's game. Horn versus Olave is kind of one of those sneaky elite matchups that I'm looking at. Physical, intense, usually close. I think if Horn can limit Olave, force Shook to throw elsewhere, that you're not going to have I don't see this offense going to be able to move the ball if that's happening. But again, Juwan Johnson's another guy to watch, especially in the red zone. Trayvon Moehrig, again, who's coming off that NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. I think he will likely be matched up on him plenty. That's also a battle I think we can win, though. But you'll still need to stay alert. All right, for those quick seam throws that you see, maybe some screens the Saints like to use and hide with some of that weak protection that you got coming. But I think that defensively, the biggest thing you got to do is get after Tyler Shook. If you get him, he's going to fold like a cheap tent, and that's just. And it's not me talking smack. It's just the fact that he's a rookie, and if you rattle him, it's over.
Man, I'm sitting up here wondering, like, and really honestly thinking, like, what do the Saints do well enough for me to be like, okay, if they do this, then I feel like they have a chance. Like, they don't do any, like, they don't do anything well. Like, the only, like, when we were talking on the NFC South roundtable, the only reason why I feel like, they can be in this game is because of the familiarity of the division. Like, They understand, like, they know their divisional foes. Like, that's the only way I feel like they have a chance. But there's, like, offensively, they don't run the ball well. They don't run block well. They don't pass protect well. Wide receivers don't catch well. Like, and that's basically what offense is, right? Catching the ball, running the ball, blocking. Like, so it's like, okay, can Tyler Shook get the ball out of his hands? Can he give the ball into the hands of guys in space? I mean, you got a couple wide receivers that are going to get opportunities, like Devon Vele, who the Saints traded for at the beginning of the season. Yep. He never really got on the field. They traded with the Broncos to acquire him. They gave up a 4th and a 7th. And this guy only has like 39 yards and 5 receptions and 1 touchdown. So he's going to get opportunities. Brandon Cooks will probably, serve as more of that down the field threat, serving as what Shaheed was. And then you also have Mason Tipton, an undrafted guy out of Yale. They acquired a couple of years ago. He'll probably serve that role as a down the field threat as well. Juwan Johnson, man, look, that boy can't catch a cold in 40 below, bro. Like, that man is terrible. Like, look, you got look. I don't care. Look, I've seen this dude miss. I'm talking about miss catches my 6-year-old son can catch. I'm serious. Like, this dude, like, I have absolutely no faith in Juwan Johnson. As a matter of fact, I think the Saints, they should go with Foster Moreau. Maybe use Taysom Hill, in a passing game. Like, Juwan Johnson is terrible. And, like, I'm only speaking from a football perspective. As a person, he seems like a nice guy, family guy, but as a football player,
we don't care about the family guys, TJ. We want to see the production, man.
Right. Hot garbage. Right. For real. Dude can't play dead in a Western movie, bro. Dude is not very good. So he caught a touchdown last week. I mean, bravo, but man, dude, man, you can do so much better than what this guy is. And I'm pretty sure he'll probably make some plays because, like I said, the middle of the field, I mean, you think about the linebacker play, middle of the field is going to be open. But I promise you, there's going to be a play Juwan Johnson could make, and he's going to end up dropping the ball. I promise you. Like, look, well, I guarantee you. Look, I don't know much about predictions. Like, we all just kind of throw them at the wall, hope that they stick. but this is one you can take to the bank. Juwan Johnson will drop a pass in this game. I guarantee.
All right. Well, that means you need to go to BetUS and sign up for free today and take a bet on Juwan Johnson dropping the ball.
Take the over. If they
Take
say
the over on that
one drop, take the over. Because he gonna drop that ball. I'm telling you, he gonna drop the ball, man.
Here's the thing, TJ. If I'll say this. If I'm a Saints, like if I was you or if I was any other Saints fan, you want to hope that Juwan Johnson has a good game because guess where Carolina's biggest weakness has been is covering the middle field with tight ends. And so I would say that's one of the things you want to try to exploit. I do think that Alvin Kamara is capable of having a bounce back game in this game. I mean, we've seen running backs exploit this defense like James Cook. I think Alvin Kamara's got some familiarity with this Panthers team. So that's why I'm saying we have to lock down the run game and put the ball in Tyler Shuck's hands too. And so that's the biggest thing. But again, this defensive front's different. When you got guys like Bobby Brown III stepping up, you got Turk Wharton stepping up, you got Ashawn Robinson stepping up, and then of course, big DB who's just been, I think this might be a hot take. I think Derek Brown right now, even coming off that injury, is the best defensive tackle in the NFL right now. And it's not even close. It's not even close. But just because of how he is such a big disruptor and how he is able to disrupt the run game, but also disrupt the pass, they have to double team him half the time through the game anyways to get to stop him. It's like that's why I even think he's better than Chris Jones, because what has Chris Jones done this year? Nothing. And Derek Brown for the past how many years, not only has he gotten better, but the past three to five, I would say probably the past 3 years, he's been consistently top 5. And now, but he's not 5 anymore. He's number 1. And
I still feel like Jalen Carter is probably as of right now, he's probably the best in my opinion. Like, but Derek Brown is he's definitely like top 3, top 5, depends on like your list. But I definitely agree with you, man. And Chris Jones, I don't know, man. Chris Jones is like one of those guys who he doesn't give it his all every play. I think it's pretty obvious to see. There was like one play I want to say was when they were playing against Jacksonville, and he was just walking like just through. And I get it, man. You play y'all want to feel a lot that game. But man, that was ugly to put on tape, especially being a leader and a guy who has been complaining about bread and and holding out because he wanted a new contract, and you put that on tape. Yeah, I kind of, I kind of lose a little bit of respect for guys like that, especially in those leadership roles. But I mean, Derek Brown, he definitely shows you that his presence is needed in Carolina. So I mean, and he is definitely a top 3, top 5. But I just think that I honestly just think Jalen Carter right now, man, this dude is a freak of nature.
Yeah. No, I know. I get it. I think it's also what's the word I'm looking for? You're part of it's also a different system. And it's also a bunch of different players. You look at that Eagles defense. Could you imagine what Derek Brown would be in that defense besides Jalen Carter, though? They would have a different conversation. Is what.
Okay, let me ask you this: if you had a choice to get Jalen Carter, Derek Brown, if Jalen Carter could be playing for the Carolina Panthers over Derek Brown, would you take him?
No. The reason why I say that, I feel like Jalen Carter's not as consistent. Derek Brown is consistent. He's consistently disrupting. He's consistently making plays. And Jalen Carter, he has his moments, and when he has his moments, he's having legendary games. And it's true, but it's only like here and there. I just feel like Derek Brown is just a more consistent player from a disruptive standpoint, and he means more to the defense than Jalen Carter does for the Eagles, because they could lose Jalen Carter. They still got Jordan Davis. They still got all these other guys that's going to be able to fill the hole. It's like Alabama. They have another 5-star recruit to back them up. So,
yeah. I mean, they got some good. That's a bold statement, man. You got Quentin Williams. You got Dexter Lawrence out here.
Dexter
Man,
Lawrence.
you got. I
People
mean,
are
you got
saying in the
DeForest
chat,
Buckner.
Dexter Lawrence is falling off. I'm like, have you been
Man.
watching him lately? Sexy Dexy still got it.
Yeah, man. I'm like, man, like they got some good ones, but yeah, he definitely no slouch. He definitely deserves to be in the conversation.
Yeah. All right, TJ, I'm not going to hold you any longer. We've been live for over an hour. Again, shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure you do us a favor. Make sure you like this live stream on both channels. Make sure my guys over here, Panther Nation, make sure you go follow TJ. All right. And make sure you guys go over there and subscribe. Let's finish it up here, TJ. Give me your final prediction, and I want to hear a score.
Okay. In this game, I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to win this football game. I think that it's going to be a game where you're probably going to see a better version of the Saints defense. I think that, it's not going to be a bunch of offense being scored out here. I think you're probably going to see some field goals. I have the New Orleans Saints winning this game 19-17.
19-17. It's not a bad score. Of course, I'm picking the Carolina Panthers to win this game. I just think that Bryce at home is going to be different. I think Rico Dowdle is going to keep this offense balanced in this game. I think our defense versus a rookie quarterback that's kind of bad news for New Orleans, especially with the offensive line being a mess for you guys. I think the momentum is real. I think things are just different here in Carolina right now, the way they feel. I'm not saying that this team is a Super Bowl contender, but we'll see if this team can be even just a playoff contender going forward, especially with how this next stretch of games is coming. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be one of those games where we just control the pace. We win the physical battles. We slow and squeeze the life out of the Saints. And I think we get our fifth straight win in 6 games. I think it's going to be 23-13.
Okay. I mean, that's a fair score. And somebody said we could get 19 points from you. I mean, look, if you can kick a couple field goals, maybe score one time. I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility, scoring 19 points. That's actually pretty low, but yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, the Saints have only scored 13 points in 2 weeks, bro. So
yeah, that's going to be tough, especially being at home. Well, TJ, I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate you coming on the live stream. We were talking behind scenes, getting this all worked out. I'm glad we got this got together tonight. Of course, it's always a pleasure chopping it up with you, especially if it's here or if it's on the NFC South roundtable. It's always a pleasure. Make sure you give everybody, at least in Panther Nation, where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on the State of the Saints podcast, youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Check me out every Tuesday, 8 p.m. alongside Clay, James, and Berto, breaking down the NFC South on the NFC South Roundtable. Shouts out to Roundtable Sports. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. And once again, Clay, thank you so much for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to chop it up with my buddy, man, my fellow Myrtle Beach resider.
Dirty Myrtle, man.
Dirty Myrtle out here.
It don't get any better than that over here, man. I'll tell you what. It don't get better than that over here. But yeah, shout out to TJ, man. I appreciate him coming on. Again, Panther Nation, do me a favor. Go over there, click the link in the description of this live stream. Make sure you go over there, like and follow, subscribe. You know what to do. All of his socials are going to be over there as well. So you're going to be able to find him. All right. I've got the link in the description of my live stream. Make sure you go check it out. Okay. He does great, obviously does great Saints content. So make sure you go check him out. Other than that, guys, Panther Nation, shout out to you guys in the chat. We appreciate you guys as always. Final word, TJ, what you got to say?
Man, you already know. All I got to say is, who that?
You know what I'm going to say. Y'all know what to do. Keep pounding. We're out. Peace.